irrespective of my personal opinions on homosexuals, the constitution of this country remains supreme.
More pause, please.
The constitution remains supreme. And the constitution of this country enjoins that everybody has rights and that their rights must be protected. It's actually one of the preambles to the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. The International Declaration of the Rights of Persons and all of that, you know. And so the point is, the
Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2021 be taken through the third reading. Say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2021 is read the third time and passed.
Me duty in my faith is against LGBTQ. Me Assemblies of God. Me.
The United States has made its position clear. The government of Ghana has also made its position clear. The opposition in Ghana has made their position clear. The LGBTQI community in Ghana has also made their position clear. So, who should we listen to? And who has a point? Who has a point? First, let us handle the issue of the United States of America and the European Union and their allies. You see, the United States, the European Union, and the developed nations, especially the United States, they have not realized that they are losing grip of countries in Africa that used to be friends or allies. They have not realized, I don't know whether they are being delusional or they are just trying to not accept that they are losing the kind of control they used to have over these countries. This is the 21st century. Countries are now rising up for themselves. Most countries, though they are poor, but they've realized that there's a need for them to have complete liberation from the West. And anything that they feel that it's trying to impose something on them or it's trying to tell them what to do, then they will always push back. Why do I talk about pushback? Living in Ghana as a Ghanaian myself, growing up, we all know that we had a lot of people who are transgender. We had people who practice homosexuality in our society. We know. And we had friends who were into that act. But nobody really cared. Nobody bothered. Because what? We believe in living together in peace. However, what brought about this whole issue is the fact that in 2021, 31st January, a particular group opened an office in Ashongman Estate, Ghana, that's Accra, to promote LGBTQI activities. This office opening ceremony was attended by the Australian High Commissioner to Ghana, Gregory, and his wife Raquel, the Danish High Ambassador to Ghana, Tom Horrins, and his wife Bridget, some EU delegates and representatives in Ghana. You see, this opening ceremony did not have any Ghanaian representative, just those who belong to the LGBTQI community. Now, when you as foreigners go together with people to commission something which already is controversial in society, it is something I would call an impunity, because the leaders in that country, the politicians, feel insulted That is why immediately after the opening, the police had to ransack the place and close the place down. Even the traditional leaders, people threatened to burn down the office. And it didn't end there. These diplomats went on to Twitter to tweet. And the politicians and leaders in Ghana did not have it easy with these diplomats. As a matter of fact, the Ghanaian High Commissioner to Australia, the Ghanaian ambassadors to United States, Denmark, and any EU country cannot wake up and go and do something with a group without some form of official approval from the government of those countries. So these politicians and governments feel disrespected, belittled, and these issues has its repercussions, and the repercussion is what we have today. If you listen to Sam George, the leader of this bill, the proper sexual human rights bill, way back in his interview, just listen to him.
The Constitution determines that every human being should have rights.
Okay.
It doesn't go ahead to break down if the human beings should be straight or gay.
That is for the country to determine, individual countries.
Yes, that is for individual countries to determine. Look, Ali, I believe that the amount of time we have, and this is a challenge to the Ghanaian media. I think the media is the fourth estate of the realm.
Of course.
And they have a duty of entertaining and educating people at the same time. Edutainment, they call it. We must pick issues which are of necessity to the Ghanaian people. The amount of airtime we have wasted, I call it wasted, not spent. Talking about gays. When we have pertinent issues of water, pertinent issues of power, we have potential petrol prices going up. Look, those are the things which bother the Ali or what?
Everybody.
He stated that we had more important things to talk about as a country. So this means that he also knew very well that we have these people in Ghana, but let them live their lives. We need to talk about important issues. However, because of this act by these Europeans and the diplomats, that is what caused Sam George and Co. to rise up the parliamentarians. And as a matter of fact, this is one of the things that both the opposition and the ruling party parliamentarians support, if not 100%, 99% of them. It means that these people are really angry at the West for the way they behaved. So if the LGBTQI community are to be angry at anybody, the first people they have to be angry at is the involvement or the way the West acted. If we all remember, way back the time President Atamos was in power, may he so rest in peace, the late president, he had to send a word of caution to David Cameron when he tried to dictate to Ghana on what to do.
One thing very clear. No one can deny Prime Minister Cameron his right to make policies, take initiatives, or make statements that reflect his societal norms and ideals. But he does not have the right to direct other sovereign nations as to what they should do, especially where their societal norms and ideals are different from those which exist in Prime Minister Cameron's society. I, as president of this nation, will never initiate or support any attempts to legalize homosexuality in Ghana.
You see, this is what gets the leaders pissed off. And as a matter of fact, this is what the West do not really understand. And I don't know whether it's delusional, But I want to believe that the United States and the EU, they are being delusional to the fact that they just don't want to look. They are losing your allies to China and Russia. Now, the other aspect is the government of Ghana, the government of the day. Nana Akufo-Addo said, not under his watch will LGBTQI rights be promoted in Ghana. Today, he says that the situation is in court and he awaits the decision. The opposition alleges that this is a calculated move because they were pre-informed. Well, this is an election year. Akufo-Addo and his government would not like to lose the election if he does not sign that bill. So that is why they've pushed it to Parliament, to the Supreme Court, so it will delay. 2, if he also signs this bill, he will incur the wrath of the West, and that is where I have a problem. You see, the Auditor General report stated that Ghana loses about $3 billion a year to corruption.
Corruption will continue to affect us adversely. Corruption is not unique to Ghana, and it's not unique to any administration, but we need to address it. ISODEC has estimated that Ghana loses about $3 billion every year from corruption. Think about it. This is the same amount of money we went to collect from the IMF. Imagine what we could do with it.
The same amount of money we have gone to IMF to borrow. So dear Ghana, dear Ghanaian leaders, if you stop the corruption, you don't need to borrow any money from the IMF. And if you stop borrowing money if you stop the corruption, you can have that $3 billion. And there is no need for you to look left or right before you take decisions on your own. But because of the corruption, if you are corrupt to the extent that you can steal $3 billion in a year, and then you go and borrow the same amount of money, then how can you be independent enough to make decisions on your own? Certainly, the Bretton Woods institutions will make those decisions for you. So I don't really blame some of these actions from the West. And besides the Bretton Woods institutions, I don't think with the IMF loans you were giving out to Ghana, we all followed it. I have not read the document, but I don't think the conditions that IMF gave to Ghana, it had anything to do with LGBTQ rights. And with the IMF threat and the United States threat to Ghana, don't forget that when you say you are going to stop some of these aid and all that, it is not going to affect the government. It is not going to affect the politicians. It's going to affect the people in the country. Also, with the LGBTQI community in Ghana, we have lived side by side for so many years. I don't think that these LGBTQI people or community believe that they have not lived side by side with Ghanaians. People know, Ghanaians know, we all know. But the fact is that Africa has come to a realization that they do not need to be ordered about. Do this, do that. When you do that, they will rise up. And Africans are rising up for themselves. And for Sam George's statement about South Africa having high crime rates because of LGBTQ.
Country has the highest crime rate, South Africa. Why? Because they've embraced homosexuality. It's one of the growing factors in that country.
Well, that statement is quite unfortunate, and I know Sam George himself would really wish he didn't make that statement. But South Africa's crime rates are not even really related to LGBTQI in that country. It's related to poverty, corruption, lack of public services, etc. South Africa has bigger problems. And LGBTQI is the least of their problems when it comes to crimes. And I've seen a lot of people on social media who probably are calling him a bigot, but that is not it. It was just an unfortunate statement, you know. And there is a saying in my language that when the blind man says he will stone you, it means that he has his foot on the stone. So, whatever anyone says out there, you are saying it to further put LGBTQI people in Ghana at a disadvantage. Because let us just stay calm and see how things will play out. Ghanaian and no one in Ghana would wake up and attack the colleague just because the person is gay or lesbian. No. No one. But some of these activities are coming up because people are angered. People are angry by the actions of the West. Now the Catholic bishops of Ghana are warning the president and the government of the day, the Anglican, the Muslims, the Pentecostal, all of them are warning the president that if he doesn't sign the bill, or if he refuses, they are going to campaign against his government. And I said, this is 2024 election is coming in December. It's going to be brutal. So this is how the whole situation is playing out in Ghana. And to those of you out there who do not really know what is happening, that is the real situation. Ghana has never been against LGBTQI people, but it's just because of the actions of the West. A word to the wise is enough, they say. Until we meet next time, make sure to subscribe. Hit the notification button. Leave us a comment. Adios.